Short exercise 2-11. We're going to create a chart of accounts. So Raymond Auto Body Shop has the following accounts in no particular order. So we're going to create a chart of accounts for the company using the standard numbering system. Each account is separated by a factor of 10. So if like cash is 100, then the next account would be 110. And the reason you try to leave numbers in between is in case later you have to add accounts in between them. For example, the first asset account will be 100, and the next asset will be 110, which would mean the next one is 120. Use the first available line under each section, asset, liability, etc. when selecting the accounts. In other words, when we're doing our liabilities, don't put the first liability here. If a box is not used, leave it empty. All right. So let's find our assets. We have a maximum of 3 assets. Just because there's 3 lines doesn't mean we have to fill them all. So accounts payable, that's a liability. Cash, here we go. Cash is, every company has a cash account. That's definitely an asset. What else is an asset? We've got automotive supplies. That would be like the oil and rags and stuff like that. And we've got equipment. So if we want to do this properly, remember assets are listed in order of liquidity. So which of these will be used up or converted into cash first? Our automotive supplies or our equipment? Well, we're going to use up our automotive supplies first, most likely, so we will list that next. And then our equipment is the other cash account. Now we're looking for liability. So remember, liabilities start with 200. And the first liability is accounts payable. That's always the first liability. Let's see if we got any other liabilities. We've got, oh yes, unearned revenue. Remember, unearned revenue is a liability. In fact, I had an instructor tip. I should have popped up. I closed it. I forgot to show it to you. So I have a instructor tip that's reminding you that we learned that when a customer prepays us for giving them a service, it's considered unearned revenue until the service is given. So if a customer comes in and says, fix my car, and they pay us ahead of time, we can't consider that revenue until we have actually given them the service. So until we give them the service, we owe them that service. Therefore, unearned revenue is a liability. So this unearned revenue is a liability account. And that has to be account 210 since we have to keep 10 numbers in between. And our equity account, that's going to be the capital. Let's see what they call a capital account. It's Raymond Capital. Raymond Capital. And then the drawing account is always underneath it. So equity, remember, starts with 300, with 3 I should say. And then the next one would be 310. And then revenues. Let's see how many revenues we have. I only see one revenue, service revenue. And remember, revenues always start with a 4. And remember, this unearned revenue is actually a liability. So don't put unearned revenue under here. A revenue has to be earned to be considered revenue. And then we've got our expenses. These are easy. They can be listed in any order. So I'll just list them in the order that I find them. So utilities expense. Remember, expenses always start with a 5. Let's see, what other expenses do we have? Utilities expense, and then advertising expense. And that would be 510. Let's see if that looks good. I think everything looks good. Check your answer. Nice work. And that's it.